Alrighty, so we're in a different setting. Under the circumstances we're in right now, I would not actually be filming in here if I had not thought and preemptively set up everything in here to film. But doesn't matter. Life got in the way. I was gonna say water the bird. We fed the bird. We watered the plants. And did our housekeeping, okay? And I was simultaneously pondering just existence, as one does. And one of my ingrained mantras popped into my head, which was smile. I had to take a look at my notes here and remind myself. Funny how that works, isn't it? Smile, no matter what you are doing. And I know that recently there's been this outrage that's come from, you know, ooh, don't tell me to smile, like this, that, and the other, which I get it, all right? I've been there. I've lived in New York a long damn time, all right? But my point is that, first of all, people tell me to smile. Is it annoying in the moment? Yes, but like, in the life of man, as my granddaddy would say, like, come on, really? So I never had beef with it anyway, but now there are segments of the female population that are out in the streets complaining about not being hit on in public. And I mean, baby, are you surprised? Y'all demonize men to the point where they just don't want to do anything other than be a rat king in the basement, okay? And you know, want to be out here complaining. Stop it. So, plus, from a Machiavellian perspective, smile, no matter what you are doing, actually plays beautifully into our house ethos of Pavloving oneself to perfection, and the power behind manipulating one's superficial patronus, as it were, in a way that best suits you, right? In the most, you know, I hate to use the word Machiavellian again, but hey, it happens. This is improv, folks. So, because practice makes perfect, okay? Like, that's what everything that I am realizing now, which, to those of you that realize it sooner, flowers, darling, okay? Because it took me way too damn long. But, hey, we'll see. So, practice makes perfect. And everyone is more attractive when they smile. Every single person. All right? And this is unequivocated, unadulterated, scientifically proven truth. Okay? Because we know that smiling is a form of communication. Every facial expression that you make is actually a deep form of communication. And oh no. Watch out. Our neighbor just about ate dirt. Okay. He made it though. He made it though. He's such a goober. He's such a goober. he never got around to going out and scraping his ice or the snow. It was snow first. He never got around to scraping his snow. So it just solidified, and his parking space is eventually kind of worn away just from natural movement of the car, but everything around his particular spot is it is slick, buddy. All right. Especially after like 2 weeks of people driving on it, walking on it, packing it down. I mean, but hey, that's what happens when you don't feel like getting out there and shoveling snow. Anyways, practice makes perfect, and is it uncomfortable to hear that? Is it uncomfortable to have to recognize that everything you do in your life is just a compounding of everything that you do in your life, and that you're the one that has autonomy over it, right? You know, everything everywhere all at once makes me think of Emerson and self-reliance, which I promise I will get back to it. I promise to do my homework and to post a video on a Sunday, as I promised myself, and thus you secondarily. Now, why is smiling in particular important? Because to me, I think it's important on a multitude of fronts, okay? First one being that as a woman, and to the gentlemen that are listening, I mean, this applies to you as well, okay? But I'm not a gentleman, so I wouldn't know how to apply this to your situation specifically, but what I can tell you is that it has worked spectacularly on me in the past, okay? Speaking from personal experience, every woman loves an expressive smile. So, for women though, like, if men are telling you to smile more, it may behoove you to smile more, right? And I mean that in the most manipulative way, all right? Because that's really all that this is honing a toolkit in which you are best set up to navigate the eddies of life, as it were. And a smile, first of all, it releases endorphins for you. So when you smile, you automatically become happier, whether you actually thought you were or not. So that's fantastic, right? Secondly, for a completely superficial reason, when you practice smiling and when you learn how to do various smiles, it's like the single greatest facial anti-aging hack of all time, okay? Because if you are constantly practicing and working all of these facial muscles, right? And a lot of them extend back into your hairline and your scalp, which is tangentially very good for your hair, because increased blood flow is always good for the health of one's epidermis and follicles, okay? So smiling does all of that, because when you do it well and when you have practiced it really well, if you have high muscle control across your face that you get from smiling, because smiling activates, you know, I don't know the statistics specifically, but I mean, it's like something like 90% of the muscles in your face, and I could be pulling that completely out of my ass, right? But like 90% of the muscles in your face are activated when you're doing various like happy faces. So what better thing to do than to work out the very muscles that are keeping everything high, tight, beautiful, toned, and, you know, the way you want them, all right? And as a woman, if you can navigate how to express things facially, and darling, you can run the world. You really can, okay? You really can. And we know this also not just because of, not hyperbolic, but of anecdotal experience, but because of the power of the beauty industry and the female consumer base, and how much time, effort, money, and biochemical engineering effort is spent in manipulating the female consumer in various directions, right? And so we know that seed oils are bad for you, and now we're coming to the meat. We are 10 minutes in, and we're just now coming to the meat of what this entire little rant that I felt a need to go on this morning is about. This is my entree, darlings, into conspiratorial land. Don't think this is new, okay? I've been here for a while, all right? We are, I think, fast approaching permanent resident status in conspiracy land. But there was a video that I watched this morning where a young man was bemoaning the realization that Peter Thomas Roth was very comfortable with a certain Jeffrey Epstein, and that this young man, went and found all of these connective tissues in the most recently released Epstein files, which I'll put a link to his video in this one. Let me write that down. Links. Peter Thomas Roth vid. All right. And that just was the synchronistic moment that I needed, okay? Because I have been on a World Economic Forum, major global biochemical, petrochemical manufacturing, economic tentacles of the swamp and the blob, right? Because I've been on this for a while. Two reasons, okay? Both that I consider myself at least an amateur professional on both of these topics. The first being fashion and my look into sustainable fashion and what that actually means, my history with textile development and, all of that stuff led me into the oily web that is the greenwashing movement within fashion and its ties to petrochemical suppliers and producers. So yeah, fashion got me there. And then that also found its way. A lot of these same companies that I think are absolutely in this sticky web of deep state globalist conspiracy actors is the beauty industry, because I am admittedly a superficial queen, okay? And I care a lot about what my skin looks like, what my hair looks like, and taking care of it to the best of my ability, right? Working out, taking care, like, if it's taking care of the physical body, I'm about it, right? And I'm also about doing it in a beautiful way, because I think that the way that you live can be an expression of beauty and art. And I make clothes for a living. I mean, okay. But you never see anybody walking around naked, okay? Not even the cavemen. Think about that, okay? Think about that. Now who has an overpriced education? Still me. It's still me. But anyways, my love of beauty products and what we can all admit has been a meteoric rise of the anti-aging skincare regime industry, right? And the chokehold that it has on us from a like pop culture, societal like perspective. Like, oh, cutest little family. They're like quintessential surfer family. All right, my dude's got on his like flat, his like, you know, flat brim baseball hat. Is it a sweatshirt crew neck, or is it, you know, some like, no, it's definitely like a sweatshirt crew neck thing with his like New Balances. And then the chick's got on her beanie and her oversized crew neck sweatshirt and chinos and her little, you know, very uber casual, but like I bought my beanie at ALD, right? Cute, but basic. But you know what? Kind of decided I might be the queen of basics because I don't hate it, right? And like, at least it's not Crocs and pajama pants. So, but the bar is low, y'all. The bar is low. Anyways, back to the beauty industry, which is what we were talking about this morning because of Peter Thomas Roth's involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. And so I have long held that the beauty industry is designed not to make you beautiful, but to exacerbate health problems, skin problems, and extend the lifetime usage of the product. And, you know, we all know that most of these companies are, they're held by, you know, large private equity groups like BlackRock, right? And so what do we all know happens when private equity gets a hold of something? Shrinkflation, darlings, and a dilution of product quality. So what I think happens is that these large petrochemical companies are simultaneously cutting the bottom dollar line by using petrochemical-based products instead of naturally derived products because it is cheaper. It's cheaper to make petrochemicals than it is to, you know, raise a bunch of sheep and get lanolin. Plus, their infrastructure is already built up behind doing petrochemical research anyways, right? So why not, you know, kill as many birds with that one stone as you can? And so most of these, you know, beauty product companies, they're all owned basically by the same, you know, 10 major corporations, right? You're talking about Johnson & Johnson, you're talking about Procter & Gamble, you're talking about Unilever, you're talking about Estee Lauder, L'Oreal, LVMH, right? And those are your parent companies, and the sub-companies below those that you are going to be most familiar with are for your, you know, just in no particular order, right? You've got Hourglass, Paula's Choice, Tresemme, K18, Dermalogica, Murad, Kate Somerville, Sunsilk, Shea Moisture, Nutrafol, Dove, and all of those are owned by Unilever. Then you've got Olay, Old Spice, Pantene, Secret, Native, Crest. All of those are Procter & Gamble, and Procter & Gamble is also the single largest manufacturer of household cleaning products, right? Then you've got L'Oreal, all of the brands underneath L'Oreal, LVMH. So all of your, like your Chanel's, your Tom Ford makeups, like all of that's going to fall under L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, and LVMH, right? So any of your quote unquote luxury makeup and cosmetic skincare solutions are all going to fall under those companies, right? And they all use the same chemical manufacturers, right? You're looking at Archer Daniel Midlands, you're talking about Sigma Aldrich, there's Pfizer. Pfizer's got its sticky fingers in all of it. And then there's T&J Chemical, and all of these companies not only supply these chemicals to beauty and cosmetic manufacturers. These are also all the same companies that supply quote unquote sustainable fibers and the chemicals used to create and manufacture all of these allegedly recycled, plastic and fibrous material fabrics, right, that have been launched. Because the reality is that viscose, modal, all of that, those are just petrochemicals. Like, that's what it is. They're all just various versions of rayon, and rayon is a petrochemical based fiber. So yeah, all of these major manufacturers of petrochemicals that are used to, as ingredients in beauty products, have a lot of really, they have really terrible side effects. And they're used across, a variety of industries, from industrial epoxies and glues and resins to cosmetics, food stabilizers. Like I said, my other area of, autist is fashion and textile manufacturing, right? And they're all over in that too. But the reason that I'm, kind of linking that in is because I care is the uptick in this propagandist push towards increased anti-aging skincare regime products, right? Like, I was watching another video where she did her whole thing is like watching TikTok videos and social media videos and commenting on them. And I'll put it down there too. And it, of course, I don't know how you wouldn't realize at this point of our internet journey that every single one of these people that she talks about in this video are doing it as a sales pitch. Like, of course they are. Like, why would you want to do that? It's a waste of money, it's a waste of time, and it's clearly just a ploy to get you to spend more money. Okay? And it's interesting from my perspective because of where I have found myself from a skincare routine, right? Because I used to do all of it, right? I used a retinol, I used vitamin C serum, I used hyaluronic acid, I had a, eye cream, I had a moisturizer, toner, exfoliating enzyme cleanser, like, you name it. I was out in these streets trying it, right? And I was using, this was back when I had a big girl job, okay? And I was making big girl money. And I was dropping coins on, a tri-monthly basis, okay? If I'm being generous, quarterly. Quarterly. Sephora could expect my ass to be in there dropping coins. Okay, it's embarrassing. At one point, I had family members and partners telling me I needed to have an intervention. And you know what? That was years before I actually like just cut ties, okay? And so, but now I use my own concoction. And yes, I know, it sounds like one of these, like, smudge stick waving, you know, unwashed whatevers, right, that are crawling out of the woods to talk to you about, like, I'm gonna go get my little jar of goo, okay? But yeah, I know, we sound like one of these hippy dippy people that's out here in the streets, like, you know, saying I rub, like, I don't know, deer musk all over myself as like fruit's antifungal properties or something, right? And like, maybe it does, maybe that works, and who knows, maybe all these pheromones that they're putting in stuff now and selling is like, you know, the love potion #9 of how to attract the opposite sex, because they've soy boyed everybody into, you know, hormonal hell. And so nobody wants to have kids anymore because nobody's getting laid anymore, because everybody's, you know, estrogen and testosterone levels have been completely fried by, you know, petrochemicals and seed oils. But yeah, you know, like I said, this is a conspiracy video. So if you weren't expecting that little rant, then I don't know what to tell you, okay? But for those of you that don't know, which I assume that none of you will, because who are you? I don't know. I don't know you. All right. But I started doing carnivore at least 2 years. At least 2 years ago. Probably closer to 3. And it is the single greatest decision I have made in my life, okay? And it has drastically changed the way that I interact with my food, with myself, with skincare, with beauty, with everything, right? And once we started carnivore, it really got me to thinking about what I put on my skin, right? Because and again, I was doing the whole like 20-step skincare thing, and I was taking all kinds of supplements. I was taking vitamin supplements. I was doing a green powder, you know, juice thing, juice in the loosest sense of the word, okay? Nobody likes doing the green powders yet, all right? It's terrible. I was taking collagen powder, collagen peptides, right? Like, I was doing the thing. And I was still losing hair in my little patch, which we're so proud of. We're so proud of our little hair patch over here. She has just done so well. It's fantastic. Yes, we're greasy. I don't care. I'm in my home. I'm on video. I can do what I want, okay? And I don't smell, so. But anyways, I started going into the rabbit hole of nutrition, and, you know, if you're interested in the carnivore diet, then, you know what, I might end up putting a link for that in here too. I highly recommend it. But anyways, it got me thinking about nutrition, vitamin availability, right? Because we also all know that none of these nutritional supplements that they're selling you, pardon me, really have any, there's zero proof, okay? They have to literally put it on the bottle. That there's no proof that there's any bioavailability of any of the nutrition that they're selling you. And 9 times out of 10, the primary ingredient on any nutritional supplement, vitamin gummy, whatever, like the gummies are the worst, okay? The gummies have gotten us women by the toe, all right? You've got to stop it. It's just corn syrup. It's just seed oil. Like, it's killing you. Stop it. Give up the vitamin gummies. And so there's zero evidence just to say that any of those vitamins and stuff do anything for you, right? But the one thing that we do know is that all of these nutrients are bioavailable in beef. So I started thinking, all right, well, if it's bioavailable in beef and we cook with beef fat, and the beef fat is like known to have a lot of, I think it's got a lot of vitamin C. I think it's got a lot, I would have to look it up specifically, but there's like a lot of nutrient in beef tallow, right? So I started using the beef tallow that we get for cooking as moisturizer, right? Like I started just putting it on my legs. I was like, let's see where this goes. Okay, it doesn't have a smell. It's not like I come out smelling like, you know, a rack of ribs or something, right? But even if I did, if the man isn't complaining about it, all right. Plus, what dude do you know that doesn't like a rack of ribs? Anyway, so I started using it as a moisturizer. It's worked phenomenally for me, all right? And I was originally just using that beef tallow, right? Like I would take a spoon, scoop some out at night, or whenever I was gonna do my moisturizing routine, head to toe. Fantastic results, all right? Like you know, again, y'all see my spot, okay? Shout out to the spot. She's looking gorgeous, okay? The baby hairs are baby hairing. So it's clearly did wonders for me, all right? And like, yes, we got a little pimple right now, but there have been few too many little cheaty moments, all right? January was tough. It went by in a flash. I mean, there was a lot going on, okay? We hit 2026 just full tilt running, all right? Full tilt boogie out here. So I was just using beef tallow, but what I do now is I actually use a blend of tallow, lanolin, which is derived from sheep's wool, and it is also known to be extremely nutritious and highly moisturizing. And actually, a lot of the old school balms, moisturizers, things like that were actually made with either beef tallow or lanolin, or I use beeswax. And those three ingredients were the primary ingredients of most of your major ointments that are still around today, right? Like I think Tiger Balm, I think Vaseline. No, Vaseline was always petrochemical based. But a lot of the competitors at the time, like early 1900s, were tallow and lanolin based. So that is what I do, okay? I just put these in a bain-marie, which if you cook, you know what a bain-marie is. It's, you know, you put a bowl over a bowl with water in it, and you boil the water down here, and it heats this bowl. I put 1/3 of, actually no, this was not 1/3. So this is more of like a lotion. It's got like a semi-solid, like actual like cream lotion texture to it. And this one was like, it was like equal parts tallow and lanolin, which I think it ended up being like, no, that might also be a lie. I need to redo that one. I know it was predominantly tallow. I put a lot of tallow. Then there was lanolin. There were like 8 ounces of lanolin in it, and probably 5 ounces of beeswax. But this, which I use, you can use it as moisturizer, or I use it predominantly as lip balm, is 30% tallow, 30% lanolin, and 1/3, I should say, not 30%. It'd technically be like 33.3%. But it's, this is 1/3 tallow, 1/3 tallow, 1/3 lanolin, 1/3 beeswax. And you just heat it up, heat it for a while in the bain-marie, let it emulsify, and, you know, stir it up, get it all together. And that's what I use. So this is like the anti-sales ad for the 10-step skincare routine, like beauty industry, everything. All right. Like, what do? We eat beef, and I rub animal fat and beeswax on myself, and it works phenomenally. Okay. It works better in the, let's say year and a half that I've been doing this. It's worked better in that year and a half than 10 years plus of using any anti-aging 10-step, 5-step, 1-step routine that I used prior to that. But that's just me. What do I know? And this is really just a highly convenient way for me to try and red pill you into tossing out all of your petrochemically based products and to boycott large corporations who are deeply involved in the World Economic Forum and the globalist deep state. But, that's all conspiracy nonsense, right? So just keep doing what you're doing. It's working really well for you. You're just so happy and actualized, and life feels so great and fantastic. You should just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, and we're about 35 minutes in, so this is just a little, let's call it the intro, okay? Let's call this the intro to the superficial conspiracy web, all right? Encompassing the dual branches of femdom that are the beauty, cosmetic, nutrition, anti-aging racket and the fashion world, all right? Because apparently this is one of my goals in life, y'all, all right? Is to just hold this grudge against these entities and do whatever I can to help undermine their empires, establish my own, and wipe their ashes off the face of the earth with the use of the largest American cattle herd and the revitalization of American sheep farming. But, we'll get there. Anyways, this is the Conspiracy Hole intro, part 1. Beauty and fashion. Yes, they got that too. Bye.